Welcome to this brief introduction to notebookSnap. notebookSnap is the latest in our evolution of data integration products. The idea behind notebookSnap is to integrate very tightly into Azure Data Studio, which is Microsoft's newest platform for data engineers and scientists, etc. So you can work totally within Azure Data Studio and still build ELT and ETL products. Part of the magic of what we do is we let you work within the native SQL editor in Azure Data Studio, or for that matter, really any SQL editor that you choose. Could be Management Studio, could be dbeaver, doesn't really matter. It will populate a file system. The magic of what we do is we will add metadata to these files. So if it's a notebook, each code cell would have the metadata, which allows that particular SQL statement to enable either a data flow or a transformation. We then ingest this using Python into our ELT Snap database. Now, this has been around for a while. And the beauty of that is once you put it in the database, you can take advantage of our Python runtime. The Python runtime is nothing more than a command line interface where you can, of course, schedule it in your favorite scheduler, including Windows scheduler. And then what will happen at that point is when you actually execute your data flows, your transformations, it will pull the definitions out of ELT Snap. It'll put into effect your changes, whether it's a data flow, whether it's a transformation, and then it will log the result or the performance of that orchestration. So run times, row counts, and we do have then a free dashboard that plugs directly into this framework. Now you can ingest it directly in, but optionally you can mix different command sources. So you could have both notebooks and SQL files that are contributing to the definitions or the configurations of your projects. If you're working with notebooks, you can actually mix kernels this way. And so SQL could be used as well as PowerShell, and you can then integrate those two sourced from a notebook into ELT Snap. And this is one thing, of course, that you're not currently able to do with Azure Data Studio is mix your kernels. You can also resequence or even run in parallel. So the capabilities are extended based on what you would run in just a native notebook in Azure Data Studio. Our Python runtime also provides for email alerts in the event a problem occurs if you'd like to be notified, or even if you just like informational messages, those can be generated. We have code generators that are used, for example, to build merge statements. Merge statements are a common way to update really both dimension and fact tables. And it also gives you intelligent rerunability. So a long-running job that fails in the middle can actually be restarted. Now, all of this is available via GitHub. And on GitHub, we have another video you can watch, which is on the installation of this. If you go here and simply clone this particular project, it will give you installation instructions on how to get started with notebookSnap. The actual interface can be seen right here. This is the ELT Snap database. And to start the extension, you would simply hit F1 to go to the command palette, and then you can open the ELT Snap forms. And you can see I've got two projects that are currently defined within this particular database. You can look at the various packages that are involved with these projects. You can look at the connections that they use. And again, all of the SQL was annotated with metadata to provide this additional information, allowing data flows and allowing transformations. When you're ready to run, you simply click on this run button, you choose the project that you want to run, and then what that will do is give you a command line interface. And this is the command line interface you can put into any scheduling program. And by running this, it'll open up and you can see it's going to run, in this case, 2 packages are actually running in parallel. It's a log cleanup. It's simply deleting expired log files. But then you can take this command again and put it into any orchestration engine that you choose. And you've got the entire framework that backs it up. And the beauty of this is it's all driven by notebooks. So if we look at the notebooks that are contained in this particular Azure Data Studio folder, you can actually see the project that we just ran. And the nice thing about notebooks is you have Markdown that is available, which can include links and images. Really anything you can do in HTML, all the basics you can do in Markdown. But here you have the actual code that will be executing. And the code could also be parameter driven. If we look at this particular project, this is a metadata refresh. You can see the syntax for a parameter. And what this will do is allow you to run it directly in Azure Data Studio without modifications. So I can just click on that run button and just wants to know where to run it. But when you ingest this, it will pick up the fact that you've defined a parameter, and it'll define this as a parameter in the project where you can then provide other, in this case, a server name, maybe a dev, test, QA, prod, etc. The metadata that I referred to can be viewed through the same extension. You can see this is going to be a data flow. We're giving this particular cell a name, and we're telling it to run on this particular connection. If I want a data flow, now I can run this and I can actually retrieve the data directly within the notebook, but in order to ingest this as a data flow, I have to annotate it just a little bit more. So I'm going to give it a name, give the name of the source connection, destination connection, the name of the schema and table for the destination, and then I can give it a certain batch file, or I can truncate ahead of time. I can use identity insert. So you've got more control over that particular data flow. And then ultimately, after you run these, we do update a database. That's called our framework database. And from that, you can run a dashboard. This is just Power BI. And you could see the results and trend over time, the execution performance of your ETL. So I hope that's been helpful. This is one in a series of videos that we have. The next one you could actually look at would be for installation. If you use GitHub and you clone it, then whenever we update any of our software, then you can automatically see that and incorporate the latest and greatest code base from notebookSnap or ELT Snap into your solutions. So thanks for listening and hope to see you soon.